Welcome back. Now, United States-based autism specialist says this neurodevelopmental disability is the fastest growing in the country. Dr. Ivor Weiner is currently in the country to give parents with children with this condition hope. He says hope will allow them to open up to all sorts of possibilities. He joins us now to tell us a little bit more. Thank you for joining us. It's good to have you on the program.
Thank you for having me.
In terms of numbers, how serious is this condition?
Well, in the United States, we're at 1 in 68. Just a couple of years ago, we were at 1 in 150, and then we went down to 110. So, and in South Korea, 1 in 38. So, I think the numbers are going to continue to increase, and we must find a way to stave off this increase, this epidemic.
Why? Why is it increasing?
We're not quite sure. Genetics plays a part, about 32% of the cases, 32 to 35%. And then we think that the rest is environmental. We've identified some pollutants, pesticides, but the difficulty in testing all those pollutants is a problem.
So that they're actually a trigger of autism?
There is a trigger of autism. We think it's in gestation, a critical period of development in a child's brain, and 1 month after birth. So when you have migration of neurons, etc. So we have seen neurons that have been affected by some of these toxic compounds that fail to thrive, fail to develop.
Yeah. Let's talk about the signs to look out for in your child if they do have autism.
So at about 16 to 24 months, we should be looking for signs of kids pointing and making gestures, making eye contact, following parents pointing and so forth. And then obviously if there is a lack of language or loss of language, we should be concerned of that as well. And then obviously kids that are not participating socially.
Yeah, all right, so that's something you look out for. You look out
Sure.
if your child is just, you as a parent, you know if something's not right. I mean, you can.
I think mother's intuition is key.
You do.
And
yeah.
I think also having your child around other children same age, you'll see the differences.
Yeah. All right. So, looking in rural communities, particularly within black communities here in South Africa, how is the situation? Have you had a chance to look at it? I know that your findings and your studies are more in the US, but here in South Africa?
I think there's a great parallel between our minority communities in America, especially in California, with our Latino population, those that come from Mexico or Latin America. The problem is access to services. They're being diagnosed way too late. So we'd like to see kids diagnosed as early as 2 years or even perhaps earlier. But some of these kids are being diagnosed at 5 or 6, way too late, because we know that early intervention is key. So what we have to do is figure out how to screen and identify, and then also once a parent has a child with autism, we have to understand that there might be some barriers. So someone in a rural area might not have the ability to get to access these services that are in urban centers, or someone who is of low socioeconomic status. Once they have a diagnosis, can they afford the interventions?
Yeah, yeah. Now, let's get a little bit personal, because
Sure.
I know that your daughter has autism.
Sure.
Layla, she was
Yes.
diagnosed at 19 months.
Right.
And, I mean, this took you by huge surprise, especially coming from a medical background, and you'd think that, you'd be able to do anything to combat this, but you couldn't.
Right. So at 19 months, it was a terrible blow, and all the books that I had studied and all the lectures that I attended meant nothing. You could just throw them out the window. Emotions took over, and so Layla was diagnosed with severe autism, and I projected what she would be at 21 and 22, and I saw the severe child as an adult. And that's not the case. We project what we see at a young age to old age, but the prognosis for these kids is very good if we can get the early intervention. And it took me a while to really accept her, and that's my message coming to South Africa, is about hope, is accepting our children's strengths and the stigma that we have. And sometimes our kids are seen as second-class citizens. We have to overcome that. We have to have an attitude adjustment, because they feel it, and it really prevents a parent from having a really strong relationship with a child.
Yeah.
And I'm a prime example. It took me about 12 years to figure this all out.
Wow, 12 years.
Yes.
And now, I mean, your daughter is, I'm reading that she's a high-functioning senior school student, so she's
Yes.
excelling.
She goes to a school for kids with autism. They're all on diploma track, what we call diploma. That would be equivalent to a matric pass. She could attend university. It would be a little difficult. She has some learning disabilities as well. But she has a full, productive life.
Yeah.
And I could have sort of taken a doomsday approach, but I took a very strength-based approach.
Yeah.
And it made a huge world of difference.
Did you have it in, is it genetically in your family? Have you
No,
had
in fact,
it
my
before?
daughter is adopted.
Okay, all right.
But no trace on her side. She had a virus at a very young age, about 6 months. We think maybe there was a predisposition to
triggered it.
this that might have triggered it.
Yeah.
But we're not sure. We just don't know what causes autism.
What actually causes it. You're hosting workshops here in South Africa. What are the dates? Where are you going to be visiting?
Today I actually have a 8-hour workshop for professionals. Tomorrow at the Four Ways Convention Center for parents. It'd be a message of hope. And then I'm doing a fathers group because fathers are often ignored. And then I'll be in Durban repeating the same day-long presentation, parent presentation, and fathers group. And then I go to Cape Town, do the same thing. So people go to the Autism South Africa website.
And do you have that on? I don't know if we've got it. Do you have it on you?
I actually don't have it, but Autism South Africa, I'm on the front page, and there's a schedule.
I'm going to find that now, and I'm going to read it out to our viewers, because I know that so many people would like to attend, and it really is based at professionals, parents, and everybody that is affected by autism in whichever way. All right, good. Thank you for coming here.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you for
having me.
sharing your story and your knowledge on this. Dr. Ivor Weiner is in the country to give parents and children living with the condition hope when it comes to that. Autism South Africa, Action in Autism, and Autism Western Cape. Bringing Dr. Ivor Weiner to South Africa. He's a US-based educator promoting a message of hope and possibility via a 3-city lecture tour beginning tonight, actually, or today, I should say. Dr. Weiner is donating his time and travel costs with funds raised from the lectures to support the organizations and their work. He was born in South Africa and has professional and personal experience working with special needs students. So we're going to give you the website in a short while. Let's